So, this documentary has hit a very bad crossroad. Now, it is with much regret that I inform everyone that Tommy Jarvis, who I've been interviewing with his Jason Voorhees expertise, has flown the coop. I was also stood up by my cameraman Stan Hamilton, who deserves to go to hell. Anyway, I was about to abandon this documentary altogether. But here at the Tommy Jarvis residence, I was able to uncover a box with an unpublished manuscript from one Dr. Cruz. It says here that he was obsessed with the psychic phenomena Tina Shepard. And what he says here is of great interest. Now, there were things that he would do. He would intentionally agitate her in order to get some sort of telekinetic response from her. And he would often record these escapades in what only sounds like exploitation. He says there are film stocks, but all the films are unable to be found at this present time. Lost footage, go figure. You have a psychic performing tricks and you don't have the fucking video for it. But I'm looking at his notes here, and this man makes me look like a good doctor.
What is up, clean freaks and filthy friends alike? Welcome to week 7 of the Friday the 13th review series summer special extravaganza smorgasbord greatness. You guys know by now, though, I am not alone on this journey. We've got Good Real Hunting, Nick Cooling, Robbie at Reviews and Rankings with Robbie Sobel, Chase at Moser Movie Reviews, all doing movie reviews for these movies each week leading up to the giant Friday the 13th ranking day in August. We've also got the watch parties going on over at House of the Living Dead, so you don't want to miss any of that. Be sure to check down in the description box all the links to their channels and respective videos each week. So Jason Lives, of course, made just enough of a killing at the box office, pun heavily intended. So it earned so much so to the point where it, of course, would warrant itself a sequel. As we've seen over these last few weeks, that's kind of the theme to the series. But they're making money, so you know they got to make one more to make that dollar once more. And I feel still real quick that Jason Lives would have been a perfect bookend to the series, whatnot with putting Jason back at the bottom of the lake. But again, the money talks, bullshit walks. New blood will be spilled in this 7th installment. Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, came out in 1988, stars Lar Park Lincoln, Kevin Blair, Susan Blue, Terry Kaiser, and features the debut of Kane Hodder as Jason Voorhees, and we've got John Carl Buechler directing this film. So following psychokinetic teenager Tina Shepard, who had by accident murdered her father with her powers a few years back, I believe it was 7 years ago she killed her father at the lake, she returns to the old lake house to seek treatment by Dr. Cruz. When walking out and about by herself, she accidentally awakens Jason from his should have been eternal slumber at the bottom of the lake, allowing him yet one more killing spree, culminating in a brain versus brawn battle at the end of the film. This is one that I find to be an overall mixed bag, so I'm not going to really separate the negatives from the positives too much. Almost everything in this film is balanced between garbage and gold, so it's worth its weight in both for sure. But anyway, looking at the characters, overall the characters in this film are really just kind of cookie cutter archetypes. Of course, our central cast is really you could say the most engaging, standout, worthy of the bunch. I mean, Tina is great overall. I really like the trauma that they have for her, and this kind of goes back to week 3. But the trauma in her character, I think, makes her worth investing in because she does have this guilt over having killed her father by accident. I think adding the psychokinesis, it kind of works, but overall it's meh. You could say that it makes the series hard to believe at this point, but look at the last film and even the ones before that. It pulls away much more believability than the franchise was even holding at this point. So it really takes it to a real cartoon kind of level for me. Dr. Cruz is a fun secondary antagonist, and fuck, I'd even go as far as to say he's more the antagonist than Jason in this film. Really likable kind of slime bag. Like, you don't like him as a person. Like, you want to see this motherfucker get his comeuppance at the end of the day. But at the same time, you can't help but enjoy just how evil he's played by Terry Kaiser. Mrs. Shepard, just a very likable, great maternal character. I don't know, man. She's like neck and neck with Mrs. Jarvis as far as being like the great mom of the series goes. Of course, they're both kind of riding the coattails of Mrs. Voorhees there. You've got Nick, who's one of the teen cast who is really one of the few standouts there. Is a real weak love interest for Tina, and outside of that, he doesn't really have a whole lot going on. I mean, he has a dead cousin. That would have been an interesting enough film in itself. That's really all as far as Nick goes. You got Melissa, who's the archetypical rich bitch, popular girl, doesn't like anyone else who is a female, so it's nice when she gets hers at the end. Let's get into the man of the hour himself, though, Jason fucking Voorhees. Kane Hodder, the iconic player of Jason Voorhees. I think when a lot of people think Jason Voorhees, Kane Hodder is the first thing they think of, and fuck, I'd be lying if I were to say that I don't think of Kane Hodder when I hear Jason. It's really hard for me personally to hold him at these heights that a lot of people do. I get that he brought some great stuff to the character, but if you look at really the quality of the films he's in, that's something that I kind of take into consideration when ranking the Jasons, is the film they're in kind of has to play a part in ranking where they fall for me. But what I do got to say about Kane in this one, though, guys, he looks great as Jason. Like, the special effects look they have, it's absolutely amazing. You know that they kind of cared enough about the continuity. They've got the fucking machete cut in the face there, the axe mark in the forehead, the tearing on the jaw right there. I mean, they handled the look with care. And he just looks amazing. Looks decrepit. Like, you can see just the water damage that's going on him. Absolutely amazing look there. I do believe that you can see his acting through the stunt work. Like, sure, he's got the hockey mask on, so he can't emote. But he adds some kind of an it factor it's different than what the other guys brought in. And I think he really is where we start to get the idea of Jason can't run, because he brings the slower moving Jason. It's interesting the way he hulks around. But I find his stunt work to be impressive in the film. The way he kills, he seems like a very angry Jason whose sole purpose is to kill. So I do kind of like that. But outside of that, Kane doesn't really bring a whole lot to the character that's unique. Sure, he does the head turn. That's really about it. I mean, and he'll make breathing sounds. But he doesn't really elevate the character to a certain point where it's like golden light shining down. Kane's a good Jason. I'm not taking that away from him. I enjoy Kane Hodder as Jason, but again, you look at the quality of the films he's in, that's something we'll get into later. God damn it, we're not talking about the rankings yet. Any of them. I do want to say, too, that the score in this film, it's an interesting change of pace. I think that the more percussive bits are kind of cool. They give a new interesting little zap zing to it that we didn't have previously. I know we kind of had a little bit going on with that exploration and experimentalism in the sixth film, but here I think it's really interesting the way they move on with the score. But overall, I find the score to be just okay. I do like the way they're trying to take it, but at some points it doesn't feel like it's too Friday the 13th, and I think part of that has to do with Harry Manfredini not being by himself making the music, and I could get that by the 7th film you're kind of burnt out on soundscape ideas. I mean, for fuck's sake, the movie House, which was scored by Harry Manfredini, has very Friday-esque beats to it. In fact, I think some of which actually come from this film, if I'm not mistaken. I need to rewatch that. But as of right now, that's my word, and I'm fucking sticking to it. The score's okay. This is where I start to get a little... Moving on to, like, the setting and atmosphere. This is, again, where it's gold and garbage. I mean, you've got an interesting murky daytime atmosphere, but when it comes nighttime, it's just nighttime. There's nothing particularly special about it, I find. But I do like that kind of gray fog that's going on in the daytime. It just... There's something murky about it. It's one of those days where it's like, play some Norwegian black metal because today's just gonna fucking suck. It's in the air. Like, you get that in the daytime shots in this, and I fucking enjoy that. The setting, though, I'm not a fan of this version of the lake. I think the lake in part 3 is a better fucking Crystal Lake than this one. I do however, I do appreciate the woods in this one. They do seem like a very mean set of woods. Where I think it carries over nicely from part 6's woods, I don't find that it's really the same kind of campy woods that we got in the first 4 films. You know, it's enjoyable enough as far as setting and atmosphere. It's, again, like I said, it's a mixed bag. The opening recap I thought was pretty cool too in this one, where we get Walt Gorney doing the exposition. It's kind of doing the narration monologue, and that's what really I think makes that opening sequence, because they show an interesting mix of clips, but it relies, I think, pretty heavy on part 6, which is understandable because that's the preceding film. So you kind of need to show some of that before we move on to this one. But I think that his narration really makes that sequence. Overall, I think that the opening bit is barely a pimple on the ass of the Paul speech monologue opening sequence for the final chapter. This is kind of where the movie gets to that stressful point for me, and oh man, the kills. Now, if we're looking at the kills in the movie that we get, the final cut of the film, the kills on this are fucking PG-13 worthy. Like, you could play these kills on TV, and you won't have to cut anything around them. In fact, I hardly noticed anything different from watching it on AMC to DVD. I noticed very little difference. That's just me. I think the kills in the lost footage, like if those were the kills that we got in the movie, I think that would have greatly improved my thoughts on this movie overall, because that's one thing that I think is very, very, very crucial to making a Friday the 13th film, is the kills have to be at a certain level, I think, honestly. And I know that sounds superficial, whatever. I don't get a whole lot out of Friday the 13th outside of the kills. Where with some of the other franchises, I can get more invested in the story. Friday the 13th is all about kills, and the kills in the final product of this film, again, very TV, very PG-13. But in the lost footage, slashed scenes, they look fucking amazing, and I wish that they could have been restored enough, and had they been saved, I don't know, there was something about this movie, man. It made the MPAA all fucking horny. As far as the rest of the cannon fodder characters are concerned, the teen cast, I found that they were a pretty forgettable bunch, pretty lazily written. The acting on them was okay for what kind of movie this was. Again, I said outside of Nick and Melissa, they're pretty forgettable. Like, they're essentially cardboard cutouts of real people that are reliant on cliches that have been established earlier in the decade. I know we got Eddie, who's the nerdy sci-fi guy. He's relatable, but all he is his trope. Melissa is just her trope. Maddie is just the nerdy girl who takes off the glasses, gets pretty. Trope. The only, I think, real standout of the teen cast might be actually Ben and Kate, the black couple, and I think it's just the dynamic of their relationship turmoil. I think that was probably the single most compelling bit of the teen drama going on here, where the part 4 bunch of kids, would have had their own interesting movie if it was like taken from the Friday the 13th and put into something else. I want to think that this group of teens could do that, but in making that jump, I think they would slip and it wouldn't work. They only work in this movie. But the black couple, they had some potential there. That seems like the only real bit of writing that went into creating some teen drama. I'm curious as to what the hell was really the problem with their relationship, because it was by far the single most fucking interesting thing going on with this bunch of teens. One thing I did like, though, was the third act in this film. Let me tell you, outside of the look of Jason and some of the other things that I kind of like here, the third act itself, man, this is worth the fucking buying price. I mean, you've got Tina versus Jason. As I said in the opening, it's a battle of brain versus brawn. It's a pretty sick showdown where Jason's just trying to fucking get this bitch, and she's like doing that real constipated fucking telekinesis shit. That actually hurt a little bit to do that. I think there was some great stunt work from Kane Hodder in those bits. It was pretty cool. Some of the effects work too. Like, I don't know, I guess it would have been animatronics and stop motion going on, but it was pretty cool. And that fire stunt, which if you guys watched the Kane Hodder documentary through, I think it was To Hell and Back was what it was called. It was widely believed for the longest time that his burn scars were from the fire stunt in here. You will see in that no, this is not where it came from. Watch that documentary because it's worth watching. I gotta say that real fast. But the third act is pretty cool. It's pretty back and forth in the build up to the final showdown, but once we get to the showdown, it gets pretty cool. You get Jason's unmasking and shit. The house exploding. It was pretty fucking great, man. Also, Zombie Dad coming out from under the dock. Again, I know that's something a lot of people hate. I don't mind it. Sure, it's fucking goofy, but it's one of the more interesting things in this film. It's like it makes it memorable, I find. But yeah, sure, it's cheesy and goofy, but I don't hate it. I don't hate that. So with forgettable characters and weird plot aside, let's move on to the filthy features. As always, we start with the favorite kill. Now, I'm going to do the favorite kill a little bit different this time. I'm going to take a look at the theatrical release that we all know and, well, know. And I'm going to also look at the slashed scenes where we get the uncut bits. So, looking at the theatrical cut that we all know, I'm easily going with Melissa because, as you guys know, axe kills, always a fucking winner for me. Usually, almost always a winner for me. But what really sells it is after Jason fucking sticks that axe in her face and grabs her, throws her across the room like, bitch, get the fuck out of here. Love that. But, looking at the slashed scene, Ben's head squeeze. Jesus fucking Christ, man. That is brutal. Just the way the face is just crushing into itself, blood just squirting out of every... Like, it's squirting out of just not his eyes, nose, and mouth, but it's like, it's coming out of places where blood should not be coming out of your face. Oh, and also, I'd give a runner-up to the sleeping bag kill, too. The sleeping bag is cool in concept, but I know I'm going to get burnt at the stakes for this, but I find the sleeping bag kill to be just a nip overrated. Just a little bit. Moving on to the smutty sightings. We've got one couple having sex in a van. We don't see a whole lot. I think it's the rich guy and the girl from Slumber Party Massacre 2, Heidi Kozak, the blonde, not the redhead. Anyway, we also get them getting ready to skinny dip. You see a little bit of side boob when Jason drags her under the water. I think you see her ass too. We don't get a whole lot there. We also get some stone sex going on with the stoner dude and the redhead chick, Robin, I think her name was. We also get a nice quick little tit shot from her. And we have sex in a van again later. This time it's the black couple making up. And again, we see very little. Again, Very TV level smut. What can you do? What can you do? And also, it's worth mentioning that the nerdy dude, Eddie, tries to get it off with Melissa, but apparently humping in your tighty whities is sex to Eddie, I guess. I don't know. Have fun with your soap on a rope, buddy. Moving on to the Friday the 13th exclusive features. We're starting with what is definitely my favorite. That is the TGIF Pinup Girl. Now, this one is a two-way fucking race right here. We've got Heidi Kozak. Now, you guys know, blondes just, they're not my thing. But there's something about Heidi Kozak, man. But in the other corner, we have Kate. There's something about both of them that I just cannot stop looking away. And I don't know, man. I'm torn between the two. I might have to flip a coin. In fact, that's what we'll do. We'll flip a coin. I don't have a coin. Split decision. I'm going to go with Kate. There's just something about her. She wants to better her relationship with her man. That's something I can appreciate and respect. Doesn't hurt that she's cute. Yeah, Kate wins. Heidi Kozak's character, she's a fucking money-chasing bitch. So she can fuck off with that. So Kate, you were the winner, doll. Going on to the Crystal Lake Memory. Now this one was the second to last, I'm sure. Because if Final Chapter was the last one, then this one... Yeah, so this was about the second to last one, if not the last. I forget the descending order there. But I was about 12 when I saw this one on AMC. And I liked it. I actually liked it pretty well. And eventually got the DVD, and I grew to love this film. And over the years, though, it's kind of moved around. It's become quite a frustrating entry. But I really loved it when I first saw it on AMC. I can't take that away from this film. Perhaps it's not having the same level of nostalgia with this one as I have with, say, Jason Lives, Part 2, 3, X, 5. You guys know I love my fucking 5 and Jason Goes to Hell. But I just don't have the nostalgia with this one. So that's probably one reason, too, why it's hard for me to overlook some of the bullshit in this movie. And, again, why it weighs in gold and garbage. But, you know, this is one that I gotta respect. I appreciate it because I did see it when I did. I feel like if I had seen it any later than when I did, I'd probably be wiping the fucking floor with this one. So, overall, guys, I find Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, to be a fairly frustrating entry. And it's frustrating on so many levels. Again, from weak characters to a really unbelievable story. Take with that what you will. But I find it to be a serviceable film nonetheless. It's great popcorn fun. I know this one has its fans, but honestly, I find that Part 7 just doesn't do a whole lot for me at the end of the day. I don't watch this one unless I'm marathoning the series like I am right now. But again, I respect the hell out of this film for what it could have been. Had this film been what it was supposed to be, had it not been for the MPAA, I probably would appreciate this one a lot more. But I still respect it. So do not get that misunderstood, fellas, boys and girls. Thank you all for watching. Please be sure to like and share this video. And if you haven't already, please stab the fuck out of that subscribe button. Really appreciate that. And be sure to check out the other Friday the 13th content that is dropping today. We've got reviews by Good Real Hunting, reviews and rankings with Robbie Sobel, Moser Movie Reviews, Nick Cooling, and be sure tonight to check out the watch party for The New Blood over at House of the Living Dead. All the links to their shows and channels will be in the description down below once more. And if you guys are feeling extra filthy, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Do you guys think that Jason might have been Tina's father? I mean, after all, she did say, "Daddy, I'm sorry. I wish I could bring you back." Jason comes back to life. What do you think? And in the meantime, be sure to check out these social media links here. We've got the Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, Patreon, and the Stream Demons fan page over on Facebook. Why don't you go ahead and check all those out? And in the meantime, boys and girls, stay filthy. And be sure to join us next week as we bon voyage to Manhattan.
I'm sorry, Daddy. I'm so sorry. I wish I could bring you back.